Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to this short webinar on how to enhance anti-fraud procedures in D365. We'll wait for a couple of minutes or maybe short minute for latecomers before we start. But for now, I would like to welcome, and maybe if you could type in the chat if you can hear me well, that would be awesome. Also, if you could perhaps share where you are from, country, region, that would be also fantastic. Hello, yes. Can you hear me? So once again, oh, hello, Ahmed. Nice to meet you. Oh, nice to meet you. UK. Okay. Welcome, welcome. We'll just wait one more minute. And once again, hello to everyone, regardless of the time zone. Morning, evening, India. Okay. Nice to meet you. Yes, so today's webinar will be dedicated to anti-fraud procedures in D365. So how can we enhance anti-fraud procedures in ERP systems, especially in Dynamics? All right, guys. So, I think we can start, right? We already have a couple of minutes after 4 p.m. here. So let me please begin. So once again, final one, welcome. And let me start by showing you agenda for today. So we'll talk first about ERP as a potential source of data leaks, right? So this is a very big ERP. Dynamics is a very big, complicated system. So it provides a lot of risks related to data leaks, related to data breaches, related to segregation of duties, if you know the term. Secondly, we'll talk about process mining as a source of insight into user actions, so potential solution, and remedy for those issues related to data protection. And I will at the end briefly show you the tool itself. So yes, so we'll actually see how process mining tool, which is Executive Explorer, our application, could potentially help you with securing those issues. Okay. Of course, there will be at the end short question and answer session, right? So if you have any questions, of course, you can type them anytime during the webinar. And Egypt, thank you. Nice to meet you. Okay, so yes, so you please, you can also type your questions during the webinar. I will be happy to stop for a second. We have enough time, so so we can make this more interactive if you prefer. And with this said, let me please begin. And I'll just start by showing you this. So of course, data protection right now, it's a pretty hot topic, right? We are discussing the different regions have different regulations. So here you can see the top sort of the most important, or the most, it's not important, most significant data breaches that happened over the last decade or so. And of course, we could probably discuss for another hour just this list. So let me just pick one that is on the top of the list. I'm not going to talk about Yahoo, because Yahoo was actually a hacker, attack of hackers. So this is not a perfect case for us. Not all of them are related, to some internal issues. But if we take American Financial Corporation, you can see here is the a little bit of details related, to this specific data breach, right? So you can see there was almost billion records affected in the database, and there was number of things. First of all, let me maybe step back and say that American Financial Corporation is a huge insurance corporation, right? So we're talking about banking and insurance. Obviously, in this specific sector, as we understand data, it's critically important, right? So data security is super important. And you can see that there were significant number of really sensitive data like bank account, bank statements, mortgage records, terrible details that were leaked. And maybe what would like to also share with you is that the problem was not that it wasn't any hackers attack. It was lack of authentication, so people without authentication could log to the web service, right? So some error related, to web programming, and resulted in such a big leak, right? So people could access such a sensitive data, right? Yes, so as you can see that, I think where I'm heading, right? The bigger the system, the bigger and more impactful the risks are, right? They can really, sort of result in huge fines. And yes, let me show you those data. We are not going to deep dives into those, but here are, the top 10 fines that were charged, to companies. You can see pretty famous names, right? Obviously, Amazon, T-Mobile, WhatsApp. We know all these brands, right? Some of them, by the way, were not that. When I was digging for the data for the webinar, I wasn't aware of some of those. But yes, we all know the some of the brands from that list, right? Yes. So you understand that that this is a significant problem, right? It can really be harmful, not only by getting a big fines, but it can result in some brand damage, right? So lack of trust by your customers, right? So protecting the data, it's really big topic, right? And why I'm saying this, right? Because ERP system like Dynamics, it is it contains a lot of information, right? So obviously it's some kind of, I would say, foundation for proper management of the companies, right? So all this information is be centralized. And excuse me, these examples of data I'm showing you on the right, they're just some averages, right? So I'm not saying that it's exactly 90,000 tables in the finance and Dynamics 365, but more or less 90,000 tables. Sorry, not yes, it's a records items, and depending obviously of the scale, depending on the size of the company, amount of data stored in those tables can be up from um, like half of terabyte up to maybe almost 20, right? So Microsoft obviously says there should be no more than 60 terabytes, but it's obviously like a terribly big amount of data, right? So invoicing, client information, you name it, right? Employee information, depending obviously on the modules that that are being deployed, right? Because so yes, within these 90,000 tables, few thousands of contain sensitive information. And yes, obviously they're just in different tables. So it is actually like a potential source of table leak, right? So obviously anti-fraud, it's not just about data security, and it's not the same as um, data protection, right? So we are not talking about anonymization of the data. We are just saying that different companies take different approach to to simply monitoring who has access to specific data, right? And also providing proper rule segregation. We call it segregation of duties, right? So we make sure that we don't have access to, so employees have actually access to just this specific data that is important, for performing tasks, not just to, all information that is in there, because it can be used, or when accessed by inappropriate people, can provide a lot of harm, right? So this is what we are discussing today, right? And yes, so once again, if you have any questions in the during the webinar, please, don't hesitate to ask me. And right now, let me just say what process mining, and especially tool like Executive Explorer, that this is a subject of today's short webinar, how process mining could help. Okay, so I'm not sure how many of you are aware, but process mining, it's a application of machine learning algorithm, right? So complicated statistical and big data analysis to automatically detect processes and tasks that are performed in the specific IT system. And in this specific case, we have created a tool that works for Dynamics finance and operations. And I will obviously say it works for 365 and also for the previous version AX 2012. Sometimes get these questions here, so just to make sure this is not just for the Dynamics 365, it also work for previous versions. Yeah, but since Xplus, our company, has many years of experience in implementation and providing service for dynamic clients. So yeah, we noticed that we can complement and we actually build on our experience, years of experience. We can create a tool that will allow customers also to to manage risks related to um, anti-fraud, right? Control. And once again, this tool provide many other benefits. Um, Obviously, I will encourage you to deep dive into what process mining is and what it can do for you. But today we'll just talk about how it can strengthen your anti-fraud procedures, right? So, like I mentioned, machine learning automatically helps you to discover processes and tasks. It provides you detailed analysis of user actions, user activities, and as you may see, this is the key element. So it provides you um, insight and analytical data. You can actually deep dive to any specific click and every specific data that is being provided in the specific forms. What is also important, if you know our company, we also have other tools for Dynamics, and one of them being Executive Automat Security Setup. So Executive Automat Security Setup allows you to create custom roles for your processes. So as you understand, this can provide multiple benefits, from lower cost of licensing to very customized roles that can have, where people have only access to this specific data. So provide you simply segregation of duties, right? Better customized roles. So those two tools work together seamlessly, and you can actually first of all discover, the processes, analyze what is and how it's being used, and you can also turn it later on into customized roles. Okay? Yep. So I'm checking right now if there are no comments. So yes. So I will just in a minute or so provide you a short demos. I'll just click, go through the application so you can actually see for yourself. But let me just first of all give you a small introduction and say that first and main view, it's actually like a table of all the processes that are being discovered by our algorithms that is actually taught for a couple of years already. How to we did an R&D for more than 2 years. Only taught our algorithm on how to discover, and begin, in the end, a beginning of the processes and how to discover variants, right? So it's a pretty significant R&D work behind this algorithm, and you can actually sort of analyze and those processes and have a complete view what and how it's being done in the system. You can obviously go much deeper and analyze. You see how specific processes are performed by by users. And what I'll also show you in a second, we have actually access to like a activities analysis. We call it like a user actions, right? So you can, for example, take by pricing, changes of price, or some any other fields or data that is being changed in the systems, right? And you can, and we're just building right now a capability to also provide some alerts, right? So for example, if I don't know, price is changed, right? Or maybe if some users get to certain forums or in some unusual time, etc., you will be able to provide alerts, right? So not only very sophisticated analytical tool, but also sort of preventive alerting for some unusual behaviors, right? Yes. Yeah. So once again, there is much more, and we have just a brief 30 minutes to discuss. But I mentioned already that we have this tool for custom secure roles setup in Dynamics. So once you have processes, and once again, you don't have to use data mining and process mining like Executive Explorer. You can use this tool, Executive Automats, as a standalone tool. So if you know your process very well, you can click through and create customize roles. You can see here on the left, you can see like a standard table, like a standard role, and here you can see on the right, the customize. So you see fewer fields, um, fewer places to go. Once again, you can make it easier and more um, satisfying for users. But obviously, the other benefit from this is that you can prevent from getting access that is unnecessary for to perform certain tasks and activities. Okay. Yes. So let me just, before we just jump to the webinar, if you would be interested in demo or trial of the tool, on the LinkedIn, I'm sorry, on the chat, you'll be able, there will be a link. You can set up a meeting with us, right? And we'll be super happy to provide you sort of further demo, listen to your needs, because maybe there are some specific needs that you have. You can see right now um, the link on the chat. Okay, so feel free to set up a meeting with us. We'll be super happy to talk to you, right? I have to admit that although this is a tool that we spent a couple of years on, there is, we're always open to, still call it like a young product, and we're always happy to, sort of get your feedback. So we're always happy to talk to everyone. And with this said, let me please move forward to to the showcase, to a short demo. And let me right now open the application. Oh, here we go. So yes, so this is, you see, this is Executive Explorer. As I promised, right here is the table of processes that are being performed by the systems. You may obviously ask what you see. You can filter by user, by departments. There are other capabilities you can see. Filter them out by number of execution steps, time. So those tools are actually used for process improvement, process optimization. You can actually see most important, most costly processes that are in the company and see how they could be potentially improved. But this is obviously not the topic of today's webinar. So let's have a look. Take one, from the any process. Oh, by the way, have a look how complicated this one is. Right? This is a side um, topic. This is not today's topic, but you can see that this specific process is actually performed in 559 different ways, right? But if we take this one that is actually performed most frequently, you can actually go to every single, execution, so by the users, and how long they took, and we can actually deep dive even to the every single step-by-step analysis of what was done, and even further we can see here, you see environment, forms, everything that is required, right? So imagine that, for example, you would like to tag certain forms and provide alerts, right? Um, when people change or add information in certain forms, right? So this is one of the views that you can use and sort of analyze, how processes are being performed down to and what information is provided. But there are also different ways. You can, for example, use statistics, and you can take forms, and you can here. This is a standard pivot, so you can see that we actually filter out by form and by user. If we just make it in the other way around, you can actually see all forms that are accessed by specific users on a specific day. You see a number of times spent. Obviously, we could deep further, right? And actually, what activities were there? See, so number of activities. Yeah, we can we can provide further analysis, right? So yeah, so this is another way to look at the information. Even different in different contexts, you can go to the activities log, right? So user actions, and say, for example, you can see, let's filter out everything where in every actions that are related to prices, right? So if somebody type the value price, right? And for example, one of our customers um, wanted to have a specific alert related, to pricing, right? So when pricing is being changed in the system, right? So you can see it's pretty significant, pretty um, many ways to provide analysis and look at the user data. But what is the most important part? This algorithm is dedicated, to dynamics. So it doesn't use log analysis, simple log analysis like most of process mining tools. We have our own technology that, by the way, is also used in our different products like executive automats. And because of this, it provides us, like a full, complete view of everything that is being done in the systems. We are currently building a additional reporting module, right? So we will be able to even get more information. You will be able to provide, for example, um, um, rate cards to specific processes, right? So analyze how costly from the money wise, how costly your processes are. There will be different other things, right? But yeah, this is like a simple, pretty simple, but still pretty significant, sophisticated way of look at the data, and it can be used um, to make sure that you're alerted, or you can actually analyze, or if something happened, you can actually dig down by the user activities or by specific execution of the process, right? So when let's take this specific process, and you can see what was done at what time by this specific user, and see and what exactly was changed. Mhm. Oh, okay. Yeah, so this is pretty much what I would like to show you today. Once again, there is more, but we don't have more time. I wanted to, um, leave a couple of minutes for potential questions, and yes, and yes, let's have a discussion, right? So if you have any, I'd be super happy to answer them. Yeah, so please type them in the comment, and I'll try to answer. Like I mentioned in the beginning, or just during the webinar, this tool is dedicated for Dynamics 365 finance operations, but works also in the older version IX 2012. So if older version, it is available too. Okay, seems like we have no questions. So looks like I was pretty straightforward. So thank you. Oh, where is the data stored? Okay, question about the data. So so we can build your own cloud environment for the data. There are some questions. Okay, so let me just display them. Okay, so first of all was yes. So where is the data stored? Okay, so yes, like I mentioned, we don't keep it on our own infrastructure. We can build you your own cloud, to keep the data. What is also important, we have our own methods of compressing the data. So even even in the companies, for example, from retail or production, where the amount of transactions, as you understand, is huge, we have our own ways on how to compress them so they don't contain a lot of so it doesn't consume a lot of resources. Yes, so it is not very costly. You can have your own Azure environment. Obviously, we can help you to set up everything. Obviously, additionally, we can, if you prefer on-premise installation, this is available too. It is always just a question of agreeing what is the best implementation model for the tool. Okay, hope that answers the question. So let me display another one. Is it to use the tool to stop hitting fake record, or just we are using it for monitoring purposes? Stop hitting fake records. To be very honest, it's haven't seen this case yet, but yes, we could potentially have a look and see how this we could. It's mainly for monitoring and alerting, right? But we can obviously have a look and. But honestly, I'm not 100% sure that we can address this right away. Yes, but I will be actually, on the other hand, happy to have a look at this specific case, and yes, maybe we can figure out how to solve this one too. Okay, guys, any other questions? We have 2 more minutes, so I think I will be able to answer one more question. If not, so I would like to, well, thank you very much for attending the webinar. And once again, remember here we have this on the chat. There is a link to the where you can actually set up a call with us and discuss a free trial. We provide free trial, right? And also so you can actually test and see for yourself. We're always happy to have a discussion, right, on what kind of additional procedures that are required. So the tool is actually developed as we speak. Like constantly develop, right, with new features, and we have very ambitious roadmap. So yes, we welcome you to to discussing with us, and this is all for today. Hope to see you in the next webinar. I wish you good afternoon, good evening, and the good reminder of the day. Thank you very much. Cheers.